Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and teaching pastor at Northview Church in Carmel, Indiana, one of the 20 largest churches in America. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here, and thanks for joining me for Life Recovery Today. Now, you could say this is our Christmas show, but what I'm going to say is that I've got some ideas for you for Christmas. Life Recovery Bible. New Life has been talking about the Life Recovery Bible for years. I've been talking about it since Life Recovery Today. Dave Stoop and I did this, and 1998 is when it came out, over 3 million copies. If you know somebody who's recovering and they don't have a Life Recovery Bible, they will love this gift. They will absolutely be grateful forever. And look, it comes in a new edition that doesn't have anything to do with recovery on it. So maybe you're a person, you've been carrying around the big green thing, and you just like to be more subtle. There it is. You can get that, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, newlife.com. Some of the resources that go with it, 12 laws. These are the things that you do this and you're going to see some absolute results, and gifts. You just work the 12 steps and these 12 gifts come from it. Really great Bible study material there. There is the Life Recovery Journey, which is an entire, the 12 steps done, 4 Bible studies per step. And that's a great way to really go deeper in recovery. And then in addition to the workbook, which hundreds of thousands of people have done, we have 4 different workbooks. This one is on eating disorders. We have the divorce workbook, sexual integrity workbook, and then the one on grief. Using the 12 steps to grieve is a powerful way to not just get through something, not just get through it, but over it and beyond it. Pretty powerful. And of course, the Life Recovery devotional. Now, there's a new tool, Understanding and Loving Your Child Who Smokes Pot. And if that is happening, you want to get on that as quickly as possible, because we know that developing brain isn't developing well when you have a child that's smoking pot. I'll tell you, the world is so against anything good and wonderful. There's a dissenting opinion all the time that hurts parents and hampers our ability to reach our kids. And social media, whether it's morals or drugs, alcohol, you name it, it's there to impact your child in a negative way. And here's a book that can help you with that. But more than anything, my wife and I have discovered that eyeball to eyeball contact with kids. We're not a screen, and we're a great distraction from a screen. Well, I've got a great interview set up for you right after this. If you have ever been enabling, this is going to help you. We'll be back.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. Steve Arterburn here. You know, I love talking to people who have a different kind of journey than we're used to hearing about. And for every person that's involved in drugs or alcohol, of course, there's several that are being impacted by it. And today I'm talking about a recovery that many of us have been through, recovering from enabling, codependency, all of those kinds of things. I've certainly been there. I've used my best people-pleasing skills to no avail, and I survived it, and I'm glad to get to do that so that you could get to meet Leticia Galey. Leticia, thanks for joining me here on Life Recovery Today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Now, you were married to a man. You left that man, but before you left him, and we see God doing some amazing things. What was it like when you discovered your husband had a problem that was not going to go away? What did you feel, and what did you do?
Well, Steve, at the time, that was my second time that I had left him, but so it was kind of hard. So it took a lot of courage at that time that I decided to leave him, but the emotions were a roller coaster. I was very scared. My girls were very young. So it was a very scary time for me. But I knew that I wanted better for my daughters, and I knew that I had to do something. So that's when I decided that I had to break the chains, because at the time my husband couldn't.
Yeah. And when you left, did you think that that was going to be a step toward him changing and you guys being together in a healthy way, or did you think that was just going to be it?
To be honest, at the moment, I thought it was going to be it. And there's a testimony in that, you know, when I went to the divorce lawyer, my divorce lawyer is actually the one that convinced me to take my husband back. And I was, at the time, very angry at sitting across my lawyer, because it took me so much time to build up this courage to finally leave him. And then when I go to the divorce lawyer and he's hearing my story, and he asked me, "Do you still love your husband?" And I said, "Yes, but I love my daughters enough to let go of my husband." And he looked at me and he says, "I believe your husband loves you, and this is what I'm going to do for you. If you take your husband back, he's not gonna mess up again." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "If you take your husband, my
divorce attorney said he's not going to mess up again.
He's not going to mess up again." And
Wow.
I said, he goes, "And if he does mess up, you come to me and I'll divorce you for free." And I was so angry, because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, and I'm like, how do you know that?" He says, "Because I could tell you love him, and I could tell that he loves you." He goes, "And I wish someone would have done that to me 25 years ago, because I've been clean and sober 25 years. Unfortunately, I did lose everything. And now I'm here to help you to give your husband a second chance."
So let's back up. What at the worst point of his addiction, what was it like? What did he do? What were you seeing that was just horrific for you?
I started seeing his personality. He didn't see his worth in himself. Everything had a revolve around alcohol. Whether it was our kid's birthday party, every weekend there was sports and alcohol, which I knew then led to drugs. The money was going, the lies, the deception, the manipulation. And because I was raised around that, I swore that I was not going to live that with my children. Mm-hmm.
And so, just as far as you know, when he was drinking, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, how much alcohol could he drink in a day?
Oh, well, it would start like on a Friday, and he would start at work. So I really don't know how much he would start before he would get home. I just know that he wouldn't stop. So it could be, and if he started doing drugs like cocaine, then he could just drink all night until he passed out.
Right. Yeah.
And the
Well,
the thing with him is that he was a functional alcoholic, so it made it a little harder.
Yeah, sure. So, what was the event that caused you to say, okay, that's it. I'm taking my girls and we're leaving. What was that?
The last straw was it was our anniversary, and we went to a block party around where we used to live, and he swore that he wasn't gonna do any drugs or drink. And by the time I knew it, on our anniversary, he's getting high with his friends in the bathroom, and that was it. I was just done.
And so what did you do? Did you just leave, or did you tell him I'm leaving, or how did that go?
At the time that black party was in Chicago, and I lived in Indiana, and I just left them there, and I went home and I picked up my daughters, and I went to my house and I told him that he could not come back. I was going to get a divorce, and that it was over. At first, he didn't believe me. He was trying to, after a couple of days, come back. And when I didn't let him back, he actually got worse before he got better.
Okay. So when this divorce attorney said to you, he's never going to do this again, had he started any kind of recovery program yet?
At that point, no.
Okay.
When the divorce lawyer did tell me that don't take him back right away, that let him prove it to you. And that's exactly what I did. Listen to his advice, and that's exactly what I did. I did not let him back in the house. And when he saw that I didn't let him back in the house, that's when he went to go get help. But that was the second time that he's got help before, so I didn't believe him at the time.
So I'm kind of hearing that the attorney was saying don't give up on him yet versus just take him back in and go and try harder, that kind of thing. He was just saying don't give up. Is that right?
Correct. He was just saying don't give up on him, but don't let him in. Yes.
Okay. So when did you start working your own recovery program?
It's a kind of a long process, because at the time I didn't know God. I was just trying to do the best I knew with my daughters. It wasn't until he went back to school and started his recovery and surrender to God, that as he was learning and bringing home what he was learning, that I started learning that I had things to work on myself. It wasn't just him, but the addiction had affected not only him, but myself too.
All right, well, I want to hear about your recovery journey and some of the insights that you gained along the way. And, you might be watching this, and it might be a new revelation to you that, even though the other person has the problem, we've all got work to do. And true recovery happens when a married couple, they're both recovering from the damage, both recovering from, kind of our survival strategies and tactics that have fallen so short. We all go through it, we all do it, but there's recovery on both sides. So we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk about how does a person who is married to or in a relationship with an addict, how does that person recover? Right after this.
It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. We're interviewing, nice little chat here with Leticia Galey. And she made a bold move, and I think it's that move that so many people, they want to avoid it at all cost, but when you make it, things start to happen. And it was her taking the girls and leaving, saying, I'm not going to put up with this. And so often people will waste decades hoping for things to get better, but there's no evidence for that hope. And when it's just hope without evidence, it's more wishing than anything. So, Leticia, what group did you go to first? How did you find out about it? How did you get there?
Okay, for the group, for myself, for recovery, I just started focusing on myself and what I needed to do, and kind of surrendered my husband to the Lord. It Yes, so that's how I started, and I started praying for him. But what I noticed is that the more I prayed for him, that God started revealing the hurts and the pains that I had, the wounds that he was trying to fix in me too. And there were some things that, even though that he had the addiction, there was things in me that I was enabling, and I was using them as an excuse, kind of like pointing fingers. One of the things is financially. I had to realize that we were in a lot of debt. Well, that wasn't only because of his addiction. That was my way of going out and spending whatever I wanted to spend because, I felt like, well, I deserve it because he messed up again. But in reality, I had to ask for forgiveness for that too, because I had fault in that too. So there's always, even though he had the addiction, there's always two of us that feeds that problem, that issue.
Yeah. And so can you think of an insight that you had early on that really helped you to stay focused on you? I think it's such a huge move to say you surrendered him to the Lord. Was there something else that really helped you to move yourself forward rather than just focus on him?
Yes, I started doing ministry. We went to a church and we served in a youth group for a lot of years, like 7 years. But then God called me to a ministry in Chicago. It's an outreach ministry where they go out into the streets and for sex trafficking. And that's when really God really switched my life around. And it took my eyes off me and focused on the Lord and what he was doing around me. And I found my identity back in the Lord. That's when it really happened. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. So, how did you and your husband get back together? Tell us about that.
So, meanwhile, he was working on himself, and I was working on myself. That's kind of what happened. And then it was actually 9/11 when it happened. He was concerned about my daughter had started kindergarten and she was at school, and I was getting some tests, medical, and he knew I was going to be in the hospital. So that kind of was an open door for him to come back and help me with our daughters while I was getting health problems taken care of. And then from that moment on, he never left, but he still continued his treatment, his outpatient. He joined me at church. I began going to church before he did. And you heard the story about when he got baptized. We ended up getting baptized together. And from that moment on, God just turned our life upside down the right way. It's been a journey.
So did you guys get any help, marriage counseling or anything, or did you just continue to work on yourselves?
We did continue to work on ourselves. However, by this time we had relationships with other couples that were more very seasoned in their faith, and they kind of walked us through it. And we had this open door policy that whenever we wanted to vent, that we would call them instead of like attacking each other, me and my husband. So that was really, that's really important to have another couple or two that you could really trust, that you could really vent, because sometimes we just got to hear ourselves out loud, and you'd be surprised how much that will help. It's important to have a couple that could hold you accountable and that you could vent to.
So tell me about what you guys do now to keep the marriage fresh. Are you ministering together? What are you doing?
Okay, so we are pastors at City Point Church in Portage, Indiana, and we do outreach ministry. I still continue to do what I started in Chicago. I started my own ministry called Not Your Shame, where I go into the darkest areas where people don't want to go, which is strip clubs, the streets, hotels, gas stations, and we minister to people that are in sex trafficking and also with drug addiction. And I started first, and then when my husband joined, so he'll minister to the men and I'll minister to the women. And we work with safe homes. And if they're willing to come with us, we have safe homes that have free programs for them for addiction and for sex trafficking. And they're all 12-month programs and they're all for free.
Oh man, that is so powerful. You know, my wife and I were on the board of a ministry called Stripped Free, and it was very late in the ministry that there was a place for folks to go who had been trafficked, and it made all the difference in the world. And I just want to encourage you to continue that. It's just awesome, and man, God uses everything, and I am so grateful that He's using your journey now to reach out to other people. So here's what I'd like to finish with. I'd love for you think about someone who's trying real hard, thinking it's going to get better. They're wishing, asking God to do what maybe God's waiting for them to do. What do you say to that person who needs to do something more than just pray, wish, and hope?
I would say where there's praying, there's action that's going to be involved. God is going to challenge you and you have to be obedient. Also, you need boundaries. The biggest thing is that you need boundaries for yourself and you need boundaries for your relationship with your husband. And you can't break them boundaries. And you have to be very particular what boundaries you set in the beginning, because when you set these certain boundaries between you and your husband, you got to make sure that you keep them. You know, you can't say that you're going to do something and not do it. So after you're praying and you're hoping and you're dreaming, you know, now it's faith, and faith takes action, and you just have to just do it. You know, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to get out of your comfort zone and just start doing it. And you'll see that it's not you, that it's God that's going to open the doors for you.
Well, I love that. And, you know, just that little message of getting out of your comfort zone. Well, there's not much comfortable about living with somebody who's not getting their problem treated. And so, you know, you're choosing one discomfort over another. But the discomfort that Leticia's talking about here is the discomfort that leads to change or hope for change. You still have no control of the outcome, but at least you're not doing nothing. And it's very powerful in the mind of the alcoholic or the addict that you're doing something differently. And that really does kind of shake things up for most and moves them closer to recovery than ever before. Leticia, thank you so much for being with me. I'm so grateful to hear about what is God's doing with you now. And I just want to say to everybody else, maybe you feel stuck. You just stumbled onto this program, and maybe there's something in your life or in the life of somebody around you, and you know it needs to change. If it did change, I'm just wondering what it is that God would move you to do. How God would take all of that pain, all the stuff that's been meant for evil, and would transform that into reaching other people and making a difference in their lives. You know, I just love hearing that whatever pain, suffering, struggle, the tears that have been shed, they don't ever have to go to waste, because God is there essentially saying to us, I can work with that. You have to trust me, but I'll do something good with it. And none of that pain, suffering, and agony will be wasted. So let's work with God. Let's surrender up whatever we need to surrender up, including all those home remedies that aren't working. I'll be back with a final word after this.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. Really appreciate the fact that she had these couples that she could vent to. I love that, and maybe that's something that's missing from your recovery. Her recovery was the recovery that people find when they go to a life recovery group that's focused on codependency, focused on enabling, things like that. The book that Dave Stoop and I wrote that's a great gift to somebody struggling in that area or for yourself is Take Your Life Back. You know, the original title was My Side of the Street, and it was just all about staying on your side of the street as she did, surrendering the person who had the problem, and we all have problems, but the big problem, surrendering them to the Lord, where you become the decider in your life. You're not just some victim. You become the defender of your value, and you're developing the good things in your life, not just waiting for God to do. Let me leave you with a verse here. It's right out of Philippians 1:6, and it says this, "And I am certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue His work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns." God's not done with you. I hope you're not done with God. There's always another area for us to grow in, new insights to develop, and practicing all the principles that we find in recovery is the way to stay fresh with God and stay fresh with those we care about and who care about us. I am hoping and praying this is going to be a great Christmas, a great end to a year, and the beginning of a year that you'll never, ever forget. See you next time on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.